Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new to it and we haven't connected before, then hello, I'm Melinda Cates. In this video, I'm going to be exploring a really critical topic that impacts many aspects of our lives if we experience it, and that is other people sabotaging us. And this came to my attention during a role I fulfilled where I was reminded as part of this how many human beings do not fulfill their responsibilities and do not take personal responsibility. And why do they do this or not do this? Well, for some of them, they don't know how to. And then there are others who potentially didn't have good role models and their upbringing did not encourage and nurture this. In addition to this, something you and I know is our past experiences have a huge impact on us. So for some of them, they're scared to. Human beings are not always great at owning up to what they have done or are doing that they know is wrong, including what they haven't done that they committed to and promised to do. They fear facing the truth and admitting their mistakes, their lapses of awareness, and their non-commitment. Many people are also adept at acknowledging their good and right actions, which is part of our personal responsibility. Sadly, two elements of human processing that I got to know so well as an employer were, one, people look after themselves at the end of the day. Loyalty is rare and self-preservation is paramount. When people believe the chips are down and they start feeling levels of vulnerability, rather than coming and talking about it and working with it, they often will take action that looks after themselves. Consequently, they don't consider the impact of this type of action on other people. And if you're the one that is impacted by their actions, if you're like I was, well, you end up sort of gobsmacked, shocked, hurt, and really busy sorting out what has been sabotaged. And sadly, you can also end up not surprised it happened at all. And if you're not surprised it happened and have been impacted by what they did, then that's a sign for you to look at, why did you allow it to be done to you if you already had a knowing about it? There must have been a level of emotional attachment to the person, and this is an area for you to heal. Also an area for you to take back your personal power and release the attachment to the person. In this video, I'm going to explore what sabotage is, why people do it, and some of the common behaviours associated with it. But firstly, what is the process of sabotage? Well, sabotage is a deliberate action that someone takes where they aim to weaken or cause damage to or create disruption to or failure to something. And this is often done, as I said, out of self-preservation, personal gain, revenge, or to hinder the success and progress of others. Sabotage can also occur in many areas of our lives, and it can be in projects, relationships, careers, personal growth, as well as in our personal life, even down to cooking a meal or going out socially. Sabotage can be conscious or unconscious, but its primary goal is to disrupt or undermine and have power over the focus of the sabotage. We often connect to the process of sabotage in terms of ourselves, and I'm sure if you're like me, self-sabotage has been a part of your life. But people do sabotage us as well. And I forgot that, and I had a bit of it done to me. So why do people sabotage? As I've already mentioned, self-preservation. Because at the end of the day, many individuals prioritize their own well-being above all else. When they feel threatened or insecure or powerless at a level, they might sabotage others to protect their own position. They also do it out of fear and insecurity. People often fear facing the truth about their actions or capabilities. Admitting mistakes can be tough, and it's sometimes easier to bring others down than to lift oneself up. Then another reason is a lack of self-worth. A person with low self-worth may sabotage others to feel superior or to prevent others from succeeding where they anticipate failure for themselves. So they bring others down so that they feel better about themselves. They can also do it because they have unresolved emotional wounds. Previous experiences of hurt and betrayal can lead individuals to distrust others, and they might sabotage relationships or projects as a way of preemptively protecting themselves from future rejection and pain. In addition to that, they can do it out of envy and jealousy. When someone is envious of another person's success and happiness or relationships, they might attempt to sabotage that person to diminish their success and their happiness. They can also do it because they want what you have. If they want what you have, they may sabotage you so that you lose face, credibility, or lose what you have so that they are able to have it. And this can be in jobs, relationships, and even possessions. So what are some of the types of things people do to sabotage others? Because being aware of these will help you to identify them if you happen to be experiencing someone sabotaging you. And will also help you be aware of when you might potentially sabotage someone yourself. So one of them is withholding information. It's one of the most common sabotage tactics, is to withhold critical information that others need to succeed or do something. It creates confusion, delays, and even failures. Then there is gossip and rumours, where people spread false or malicious information to tarnish someone's reputation. It can create discord, it can create mistrust, it can create vulnerability amongst people. I experienced this in my own business with my employees, where rumours were spread about the state of the business. And what it did was create a lot of vulnerability with the employees within the organisation. And it resulted in members of the team taking action, which ultimately impacted my business financially. The person's intentions? It was for their personal gain. Then another one is undermining confidence. Saboteurs might belittle, judge, or criticise and put someone down, and possibly even excessively. And that is with the intention of undermining their confidence, making it harder for them to perform well, and making it difficult for them to believe in their abilities. They can ask questions or make statements to instill doubt in the person as well. And by doing so, the person then potentially won't complete what they're doing effectively, or they don't do it, and they may even give up. The person is seeking power over the other person, wanting to prevent their success or movement forward. Then there's passive-aggressive behaviour. So actions like people arriving late, missing deadlines, or providing incomplete work, which then can sabotage what's being done. And this all happens without direct confrontation. So it's a subtle form of obstruction. And it can be to make things difficult for the person, also to trigger reactions in them. So they're set up to look like the bad person and the one at fault, which then undermines their position of influence. And it can even aim to take power away from the person. Then there is the aggressive behaviour, where the person creates a fight with you prior to you doing something that is important to you. I had a boyfriend who initiated a fight prior to every wedding we were invited to. And this meant he had a reason not to attend. This left me with, as you can imagine, a lot of hurt and pain. And I certainly did not enjoy the weddings in the way I could have. And after it ended our relationship, I realised he didn't attend a single one with me. My father, well, he used to start a fight with me the night before my school exams, and it left me really emotional and not as clear in my thinking for my exams. Then what was interesting was many years later, the boyfriend who created the fights before the weddings, well, he dumped me the night before my major last year exams at university. Interesting how patterns of sabotage can continue in our relationships. because we're conditioned around this, and at some level we believe we deserve it. Conditioned because my father did it to me first, then this boyfriend. Then there are those that will create obstacles, intentionally creating barriers and complicated processes, sabotaging tasks and making them harder to achieve. Also, lack of support, where they simply fail to provide the necessary support or resources, leaving you and even a team struggling to achieve their goals. Then there are the people who just let you down and they don't fulfill their responsibilities. They're almost abandoning their responsibilities, and you are left with the burden of dealing with their responsibilities. An experience of mine, besides the sabotage I experienced in my younger years, was I recently went through a personal experience that illustrates these points. I had approximately 40 people organised to attend an assessment, and one of my team members, who was supposed to assist me, texted me 20 minutes before my arrival to the assessment, saying that they couldn't help me, even though they were still attending, where they were going to support their family members through the assessment. The issue with this is that the office where I was travelling from to the assessment centre was 2 hours away from the venue, and I was not far from the venue when I got her text, so I couldn't replace her. Well, you can imagine, I was not happy, and this added a great deal of pressure and stress on me, as I was already working really long hours and I needed their support. Needless to say, what was an organised process that was going to run relatively smoothly ended up being a tad overwhelming and a touch chaotic. The other factor in this wasn't an isolated incident. What she'd done previously is she'd taken leave at times when she had a lot of interviews organised, but she never communicated to any of us that she'd organised them and that they were coming up. And it caused chaos because we had people turning up to the office for interviews and we knew nothing about the interview or anything about them. And to add to that, the person wouldn't respond to our calls or texts until they returned to work, which complicated matters even further. But reflecting on their behaviour, I realised it was a pattern of sabotage. And hey, I still contributed to this situation because as their leader, I didn't have systems set up in place to address people communicating with each other. So I certainly acted on that. So out of this whole scenario and realising there was a pattern of sabotage, what I discovered in amongst all of this was I'd invited this person to join my team because I'd developed an emotional connection with them. And my decision had stemmed from my neediness to have someone I was familiar with and that I trusted. And this meant I had a level of emotional attachment and dependency on the person, which left me emotionally impacted by them. This person knowingly or even unknowingly exploited this. The person had also expressed that they would like my job. I realised their actions mirrored experiences I had had in the past with other people I'd had emotional attachments to. This was a huge wake-up call. I didn't actually need the person, and I realised I was actually quite capable on my own. But I'd been doubting this and underestimating my ability. Understanding this, well, it helped me release the neediness and regain my personal power, so I was less impacted and influenced by that other person. In approaching the person, I chose to address the issue constructively and to support their strengthening of their self-worth, because I'm an absolute believer of doing what I can to reinforce or enhance a person's self-worth. I don't always get it right, but I am intentional in this area and will give it a damn good shot. I viewed the situation through her eyes, which was they were looking to progress into a more responsible role and progress in business. So I asked them if I could provide them with feedback, and they agreed. And I explained the importance of informing people as soon as they can when they can't fulfill their responsibilities, because this is important in business and it supports the team. And it's an area of strength an employer would be looking for. their response showed there was a level of awareness what they had done. And that was based on what they said to me, which is, I could have told you the night before. So there was a level of sabotage indicated. Given people's tendencies for self-sabotage, it's not surprising they sabotage others. Emotional states and a lack of self-worth often drives these behaviours. And this experience, well, it prompted me to reflect on others who had sabotaged me and the times when I'd sabotaged myself and even others. And in recognising these patterns, it allowed me to understand and reflect on and remember the emotional roots of such behaviours, where people are operating from a place of sabotage because they're sad and feeling powerless. Therefore, I choose to understand people in these situations and respect them. And my aim is to support others who are sabotaging to find responsible ways of doing things if they're open to it. If you're interested in exploring more about why it's important to be aware of other sabotage, then you'll want to check out my other video on it. It's in the description below. Thank you for joining me today. And if you found this video of value and insightful, please take a moment and like, share and subscribe. You may even want to leave a comment. Let's foster a community of support and growth, recognizing sabotage for what it is and that people are in pain and are hurting, and choose more constructive paths forward and support those people to take their power back and to find different ways of doing things.